So, my sister's calling me all these crazy names because her fiancé decides to break it off with her because apparently he has a crush on me. Well, today's story is interesting because you're going to see my side of the story and also you're going to see my sister's side of the story. So let's go ahead and jump into today's crazy drama story. Hello everyone, my name's Layla. I have an older sister, Jess, who's very jealous of me. So much so that she's blaming her fiancé's wandering eyes on me. I guess our mutual hatred began when I was born. She's always been pathetic, bitter, that our parents liked me better than her, and I remember that she's always tried to steal my thunder when I was younger by announcing her perfect scores in exams when my parents were focused on me, and she's always been like this, and I guess that's what my parents preferred me over her. She didn't like that my parents loved me more when we were kids, and even as adults, she didn't like when my parents offered to let me stay at their house when I could not find a place for myself under the budget of returning from college. She was very vocal about it in front of them too, and my parents berated her instead of listening to her jealous ramblings. I knew she had a boyfriend, Jimmy, which she never introduced to us, and I think she was scared that we might be embarrassed and, might embarrass her in front of her boyfriend. Which is so weird because it would only have been her who would have been embarrassed herself. However, she was forced to introduce us when Jimmy proposed and they had to plan a wedding. I was shocked when she did not beg our parents to help in the wedding planning like I thought that she would. And she was ungrateful when my parents offered anyway, saying that they were already spending a lot of money with me under their roof. She loves passive-aggressively taunting me like this. Anyways, the first time I met her boyfriend, I found him very attractive. He seemed like a very fun-loving and adventurous person, the exact opposite of my sister. Where my sister is uptight, Jimmy is laid back. My sister on one hand is self-conscious. She's always caring too much about everything and it's absolutely exhausting. While Jimmy came out as a confident man, I was very confused as to why these two even liked each other enough to date. Let alone get married, but I didn't say it to my sister. Not wishing to make her feel bad, at least one of us can try to be civilized in our relationship. I think Jimmy found me attractive too when he started talking to me. Initially, I had thought he was just talking to me as his future sister-in-law, but just before they left, Jimmy left me his number. This made me feel very uncomfortable, and I wondered if I should discuss this information to Jess. But I knew she would blame this on me like she always does. She hated me after all, so I tried to purge this instance from my mind. The troubles worsened when my mother pressured Jess into making me one of her bridesmaids. I tried very hard to persuade her not to do so, but she wanted to look her best in front of her family, and I guess she didn't want the family to know how jealous Jess was of me. I don't know how much fight Jess put up against the idea. All I know is that she agreed to it, and I had thought that it would be, it, but Jess started to target me. She knew very well that baby blue looked bad on me and guessed what she wanted all the bridesmaids to be in. Baby blue! I'm pretty sure she even made her maid of honor, Becky, who was her best friend, babysit me. I always had her attention while taking care of my bridesmaids' responsibilities. She had a close eye on me when we all went shopping for the bridesmaid dresses, just to make sure I actually matched everyone. I mean, I wasn't planning on wearing something else, but it did grind my gears. These preparations had focused us to often have brunch with the grooms as well. And all through the brunches, Jimmy would give me extra attention, making me squirm. I'd initially thought that maybe I should enjoy it to make Jess even more jealous. But I had seen how much stress she was under while planning the wedding, so I didn't want to get in her way, and I didn't. But it's not my fault that Jimmy kept flirting with me. She caught us at the joint bachelorette party that we were having, and she accused me of trying to steal her man. Well, I tried to calm her down, as she was too drunk and was not thinking straight. I told her that I was not the one trying to seduce Jimmy. She slurred that she wasn't blind and she had seen me making a move on Jimmy multiple times now, and I told her that it wasn't what she was thinking while Jimmy just stood there smirking. I told Becky to take Jess back before she makes a scene and embarrasses herself. I don't think she believed me. Jess must have filled her ears with poison against me. However, Becky was not important to me, so I didn't care what she thought of me. But still, I left the party too, so Jimmy would not make a move on me again. Then everything went to hell on wedding day. I had arrived in time just like Jess had wanted, and I had even been a few minutes early to make her feel at ease that I've arrived. We got ready like we had planned, and I helped the others with her hair while Jess got her makeup done. But then a groomsman entered the suite and gave us the devastating news. Jimmy didn't show up, and he wasn't picking up the phone either. Well, obviously, Jess starts to panic and starts calling Jimmy nonstop. I told him to go check his house, thinking that maybe he forgot or something. There were even theories about him getting into an unfortunate accident, which was shut down by a very angry and stern Becky who kept on eyeing me. When someone had gone and checked his house and found a note, that's when everyone pointed their fingers at me. The note said that Jimmy was dumping Jess for me. So, Jess starts calling me out for Jimmy being a no-show. She blamed me, saying that I've been seducing him for the past few months now and that I must have made him not show up. I was so angry and asked her if that were so, why would I show up myself? She accused me of playing the golden child like I always did, and I tried to explain that it was Jimmy's decision, and that I've never tried to engage in his flirting. Our parents have arrived on the scene by then. She accused me of seducing Jimmy while Becky and some of the other bridesmaids also agreed to Jess's claims. They agreed that they've seen me approach Jimmy multiple times, and I was astonished that Jess had filled all their ears with poison against me. I tried to explain myself as Jess called me a slur in front of every single person. And well, she even tried to accuse my parents of spoiling me and just never teaching me a lesson when I did wrong. I could tell that my parents also thought that I was in the wrong. I announced that the truth was exactly the opposite of what Jess was claiming. I tried to explain that it was Jimmy who was flirting with me, and I was the one who always turned him down out of respect for Jess. I told Jess to take a deep breath and think about it. Nothing in Jimmy's note even said anything about me approaching him. He had just said that he was in love with me instead of Jess. And now Jess was accusing me on the basis of one interaction that she's seen when she was drunk at her bachelorette party. However, Becky came forward with her multiple fake accounts of seeing me go up to Jimmy myself. Jess grew even more agitated when I started to cry at everyone's accusations. She lunged at me, physically to assault me. My head hit the marble floor and Jess was getting ready to punch me in the face, but my dad got to her. He tried to soothe her as she cried on his chest. That's when Mom announced how disappointed she was in me. She conceded that I was indeed spoiled by them, and that she should have thrown me out when it became clear that I never planned to leave their house and tried to find a house of my own. This was very shocking to me, as they've always told me that they loved having me around. I would have left and gotten a place of my own if they had not always said that they liked having me around. My mom told me that she was rectifying her mistake now and was kicking me out of the family for destroying Jess's life. Embarrassed, I ran out. I didn't want to be somewhere I wasn't respected either, so I drove around the city, calming my anger down, and I didn't want to face my family while I was this angry. And when I went home to pack my stuff and leave like my parents so desperately wanted, I was greeted by my room completely trashed. I saw smoke coming from the backyard, and I rushed down and saw my sister burning my clothes in the fire pit. In anger, I called her pathetic. But before any of us could say anything more, my mom roared at me to get out. She kicked me out of her house, and I had to retreat to a friend's house without any of my stuff because Jeff just destroyed most of it. I'm typing this from my car, and I can't believe that my sister would blame me for her fiancé falling in love with me and leaving her. Can you believe her? How is it my fault? Jimmy is clearly a jerk, but instead of leaving him in the first place, now that he ruined her life, she pinned it on me instead. Update number 1. Hey everyone, this is Jess. My sister Layla wrote a post about a week ago about how I blamed her for Jimmy leaving me at the altar. I would like to clarify that most of it was a lie. She fabricated the story, and I'm here to tell you how everything actually went down on Becky's insistence. It is true that I'm thinking my parents coddled her. I've always thought that, even when I was a kid. But I've never tried to take her away of her thunder or whatever. She is spoiled of a kid and ran to mommy when she got expelled from college for disobedience and her vulgar behavior. Instead of making it a teaching moment, my parents offered to give her shelter. I did not introduce Jimmy to my family because Layla's ruined my previous relationship as well. She once tried to seduce my 22-year-old boyfriend from college when she was just 16, making him so uncomfortable and breaking up with me immediately. So I didn't want Jimmy to go through that. There is where she began to completely fabricate the event that took place between us. She was the one who slipped her number into Jimmy's pocket, and I know, because I found it in his pocket myself, and Jimmy reassured me that he didn't know when she did so, and I obviously destroyed the number then and there, and even though I was just straight up mad at Layla, Jimmy, however, reassured me that he didn't care for Layla's tactics, and I believed him like a fool. Then I saw her approach Jimmy on multiple occasions. I lashed out when I saw Jimmy lean in to kiss Layla back at my bachelorette party, but Jimmy reassured me that it's probably the trick of the light, and he again reassured me that Layla had approached him and that I was too drunk to clearly remember that it was not him who had leaned in to kiss her. And when Jimmy left me at our wedding, I knew it was Layla, not because of the note, but because they eloped. She posted eloping with my fiancé all over social media to get back at me when I humiliated her and made my parents kick her out. She played the victim when I had accused her in front of everyone. My parents weren't even convinced by my accusation, but they did not back Layla either. They must have angered her enough to brag about getting my fiancé on social media. That's what made my parents finally kick out their golden child. I've never been jealous of Layla, because there's nothing to be jealous over. She's an unemployed woman still living with her parents, and why would I be jealous? However, she's always been jealous of my success, even, over men especially. People find my awkwardness charming, and I've always been lucky with men until Jimmy. She's always been jealous about that because she's often approached men who have always let her down. I once saw her approach a married man who shot her down, so Layla had clearly wanted to ruin my happiness out of her jealousy. I'm not even mad anymore. They're both bad people and deserve each other, and I'm just glad that Jimmy did not ruin my life by cheating on me after we have gotten married. I'm just sad that I believed Jimmy in my own eyes, and he had really gaslighted me that time, and I'm just sad that I could not have been the one to break off our wedding. I hope everything's clear now. People can easily lie on the internet, so don't believe everything that people write. Update number 2. Hey, everybody, this is Jess again. Well, just so you know, I didn't think I would ever return here and update the situation, but a few things have happened to prove that karma's real. So I thought I would just give you guys an update. Layla and Jimmy have stayed in Vegas for a month after eloping. Layla had very nicely shown everyone everything that they were doing, and I've blocked her on social media, but Mom regularly goes on rants about how her daughter's embarrassing the family name out there in Vegas every time we're together. If there's one more good thing that came out of this other than Jimmy showing his true colors to me, is Layla showing her true colors to our parents. They no longer talk warmly about her and are often vocal about how disappointed they are. At least they've started to see where I was coming from when I said that they spoiled her too much all these years. However, Layla had stopped posting anything last week. I knew my mom was worried because of what, she brought up the fact that at least she stopped posting now every day for the past week, and we weren't sure if she was even alive, as no one wanted to keep in touch with her. She did, however, show up at my house yesterday. She was crying like hell, so I let her inside instead of punching her in the face, like I fantasized about on a regular basis. She told me that she was in trouble because of Jimmy. I didn't say much, and she went on to explain the situation to me without prompting. She told me that Jimmy had gotten drunk without telling her and crashed his car with another. She told me that it was a family of 4 and the dad of the eldest daughter was in critical condition. However, now the family's taking her to court, as Jimmy immediately fled the scene. I was baffled by her story and asked her why she was here instead of going to a lawyer. She said that she needed help compensating the family for damages. I snorted and told her that I was not going to be helping her. She begged me, saying that I was rich and that I could help her pay them. She made all sorts of promises to pay me back later, and I reminded her that she had never once had a stable job in her life, and I wasn't going to be fooled. I asked her if she had gone to our parents for the money yet, and she revealed that she had first gone to them for help, but they told her absolutely not, claiming that they would not be spending their hard savings at all on her, not anymore. My parents have never been rich, just middle class, so I understood. I told Layla that she had ruined my life, and now that I'm faced with a choice of letting her ruin her own life because of her own stupidity or helping her, I would choose to let her ruin her own life, you know? I knew she was getting angry at my response, so I pushed her out of my house and let her scream and cry for my neighbors to hear, and that's exactly what she deserves. I'm sad that her actions have led to the family of, going to the hospital. I can't believe Jimmy and Layla were capable of such negligence. Layla, sure, but I hadn't known Jimmy to be that irresponsible ever. Either way, it's their problem now. More like Layla's problem now that Jimmy ran out on her. Update number 3. Hey guys, this is Jess again. I'm once again here to update about some new things that have come to light. Remember 2 weeks ago I posted about Layla, my sister, coming to beg me for help? She was again lying that day. Yesterday, Jimmy had come to my house, really riling up my emotions, and he said that he understood that I was mad at him. But he explained that he was here to clear everything up and apologize for being a jerk. He immediately confessed that he had been stupid enough to be seduced by Layla. He told me that it's been Layla who had suggested that he leaves me and marry her instead in Vegas. He clarified that he now knows what a mistake that was and regrets doing that to me. He also said that he wasn't there to get back with me. He understood that I probably hated him too much to do so. He was correct. I didn't even want to be in his presence in that moment. But then he revealed that Layla was lying when she came to me and my parents, and he claimed that it was Layla who was driving and not him. He explained that he realized that she was drunk driving too late, and he had not detected the alcohol on her breath fast enough, and they were arguing when she ran into a car. He was telling her to pull over because of how drunk she was, and Layla got mad and started yelling at him, not looking where she was going at all. That's how the accident happened. I asked him why I should believe that, and he revealed that that's why he rushed away from the scene of the crime. He asked me how he could have ran away if he was supposedly the drunk. Layla, on the other hand, had not run away because she was wasted, but she was conscious enough to switch seats and make it look like Jimmy had been the one driving. He was actually the one who called the ambulance while he ran away, and now the cops are looking for him. I told him that he should tell that to the cops, but he was afraid. I asked him if there were cameras on the road, and he said that there probably were, so I advised him to contact the family and tell them the truth. Maybe they would not bring him into the case if they found out that Layla had tried to frame him when it was her negligence that had gotten him into this mess. I also wanted my sister to pay for everything that she did. So, I convinced him to pin the blame on her because she was indeed at fault. Well, he was hesitant, but I told him that this was the only way that he would be able to receive from me any help. I told him that it was the right thing to do if he just ever wanted to come back and live normally. I think I convinced him to do the right thing, but I don't know for sure because I have no plans to follow through with him. But can you believe that Layla lied again like that to me? She's a serial liar, and she's brought all of this on herself. I can't believe she's ever thought I would help her after everything that she did. Update number 4. Hey guys, this is Jess. It's my last update. It's been about 6 months since the last one, and there's been developments in my situation. So, I thought I would update you guys one last time. Jimmy did go through with what I told him. He contacted the family and told them the truth. The cops found some footage of Jimmy and Layla fighting, and it did look like Jimmy was asking Layla to stop driving and let him drive instead. But Layla wasn't letting him. The family decides to not press charges against him. Layla was in deep crap after this. She was recently charged with many charges including manslaughter, driving under the influence, and of course reckless driving. She's going to prison for almost a decade. I didn't go to her trial, but I know through my parents who have kept tabs on her, through her lawyer, she's totally screwed. Jimmy actually testified against her in trial, and that must have hurt her like hell. I wouldn't know for sure because I wasn't there. I hear that he's also getting divorced from her. I don't know if it's already been finalized or what, and if you're wondering, the family's fine. Both the father and daughter survived, thankfully. I did contact them and asked about their situation, and I apologized for my sister's recklessness, even though I knew my apologies wouldn't do much. My parents have stopped talking about Layla entirely, other than when they bring up her trials. They're acting like Layla isn't even their daughter, and I guess if Layla was my daughter, I would have been disappointed in her as well. I always saw her act, so I'm not that disappointed. I guess that's all for this update. Hopefully nothing new happens after this because I'm exhausted by this drama. Thank you for letting me clear my name up. So Layla, she ends up going to jail for numerous charges including manslaughter, driving under the influence, and a few other ones. But I'm just glad that we were able to see from both perspectives today because, like I've said before, when you only get one perspective of OP could flip things around and just make things seem perfectly lined up with OP. But if you have both perspectives, you can form your own opinion of it, and that's what we saw today. So I do want to know your thoughts about today's story. The only really sad thing that happened in this story was the fact that a tragic accident took place with the drunk driving, and I just want to know exactly what you would have done if you were in OP's position. Guys, drop your comments down below. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories like this every single day. So, if you want to be a part of these daily readings, consider subscribing to the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.